Okay, so we get called 4-bet from the big blind here. This isn't a hand I'm looking to fold. His range here is super strong. It's almost like queens plus ace king. But I think we're just gonna 3-bet, try to get it, or 5-bet, I mean. Okay, gonna open sevens for value here. Okay, like I said, I just don't think I'm calling. His range is super strong at this point, but it's aces, it's aces. Going to be really focused on recognizing what my first instinct is and then thinking about whether or not that's the correct assessment of the situation. Okay, my first instinct here is to 4-bet. I think his range is pretty wide against a button open. His re-steal range is pretty wide. I don't mind taking this down. It's pot down without a flop. Don't pay rake. Okay, just imagine his limping range being very weak. You know what? I think I'll keep the SPR. I think raising there is fine. I also not looking to play a big pop there. Should ask about small blind limps. First instinct here is to limp behind with 9-10 off on the button against what likely is a fish. I'd hate to get raised by one of the blinds. We'll see what happens. I think this hand's maybe just a little too weak to get involved with. Okay, my first instinct here is to fold. Don't have much of a hand. The spade draw's possibly not good. My first thought is to flat here. The price I'm getting, and a pretty playable hand. Okay, checking range. This tends to be an underbluffed board. It's just very hard for him to have natural bluffs here. Just clobbers his range. Okay, I'm opening all suited aces usually. Okay, so very dry flop. Three ways. I should probably be a little bit selective with my bets. I do have a backdoor flush draw to the nuts, a backdoor straight draw. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a two-tone board. I think that makes this very definite check. Okay, bet 150 into a pot of 450. That means I need to call 150 into a pot that will be 750. I don't know what kind of math that is. 7 to 1, something. I mean, I just don't have, not continuing here. Okay, ace 10 off from the hijack. Open. Okay, I don't see any reason to 3-bet here. I have a hand that plays pretty well multi-way, and I'm closing the action. I go steal. Okay, similar story here to what I set up there. Okay, pot size bet means I need 33% equity to call. I just have a 3. Don't think I'm pot. Okay, he checked twice. I think it's okay to start betting here. I expect him to continue with some draws, maybe a 9. Okay. Facing a bet from the button. I think he could be doing this. He opened the pot, so he could be doing this. His range is, I think this is, well, he should be betting fairly selectively, but I think with the 8, I don't think I can fold just yet. He could have all the overpairs. He could have over cards. Okay, this is a great turn for his range. It's also great for my hand. I'm trying to think. I'm typically going to let I just expect him to be betting a ton on this card. And with my hand being as strong as it is, I want to let him bet. Okay, now I think it's time for me to check raise. I'm out of position. It's going to be hard for me to build the pot. With the larger sizing as well. shoot. I'm actually going to sit out and try to get a full table. Okay, here I'm going to be trying to isolate out of position against this button. I mean, limping the button here with the short stack. All signs indicate that this is a weaker player. Okay, I just flopped trips on a board that I opened. I'm usually choosing a small size and betting often on this flop. Okay, I'm betting very polar on this flop here. Oh, I guess heads up, I can probably open up a bit. Okay, when he raises with his stack size, I think just calling might be an option. I mean, it's a very dry board. Okay, and now I expect him to be doing that with one second. Expect me doing a ton of queens, which would continue here, continue to bet. Okay, I guess I just try to get some money in here. Let's see, what kind of hands would he have raised? I mean, he could potentially have raised with maybe a two pair hand at this point. So I think betting, could he have air? I mean, what hands is he checking back? It's probably weighted a lot towards air. Oh, shoot. Okay. When he bets large, let's see, he doesn't have ace king here. I think he could really have a two pair hand. I think we are going to just try to get value. Wow. I still think it's fine. I guess what hands is he checking back? That's a hand worth reviewing. Okay, I'm going to try to play at 3 tables since I'm talking and thinking so much. Glad he only had 30 bucks. Okay, I don't really like reopening the action here. I think I'm getting a great price. I have a decent hand. We're just gonna hope to flop strong. Okay, we're pretty much done with this hand. He should be betting pretty polarized here. There's pretty much, it's really hard for us to have a good run out. We're potentially crushed already. Okay, I expect this to be a weaker player. I expect him to be doing this probably with a merged range. Blind versus blind, King Jack feels like just a bit too strong to fold. Considering a 3 feels a bit weak, but also a bit too strong. Feels just strong enough to defend there. which made me contemplate four bet bluffing if I thought it was not weak enough to call. Not strong enough to call. Okay, here again, against like a tighter opening range, I think just flatting makes the most sense. Okay, very dry flop. Okay, when pre-flop razor checks such a dry flop, I think his hand is weighted towards some weaker hands, maybe or maybe even like a queens or jacks or tens or nines, something along those lines. So I think we're just going to start betting for Val. If I check again, is he likely to bet those types of hands? I don't think so. He may call with them as well. Or he may call with them though. So we're going to choose a bit smaller sizing and hope to get called by some of those types of hands. Okay, I think the 10 card is 10 of diamonds is a fine card. I think I still have the best hand decent amount of the time. I think we will go with another smaller sizing and hope to get called by a worse pair. Maybe a worse king. I just hope neither of them have king 10. Raising here is a steal. We do have king high, not bad. Okay, we flop bottom pair with a good kicker. This flop in general is good for the buttons range. I think heads up, I'm probably more likely to see bet here. Probably get a queen to fold with a couple bets. Or if I check and I get checked to again, then I can bet and take down the pot fairly confidently. They both have fairly wide ranges. Okay, now I think it's okay to start betting. I think they're just both super weighted towards air when they check twice. And I think Okay, I think he could just be sort of betting any random hand here. I think I have a 9. I like to continue. Now when the king comes, I think it's less likely he is a king, and he checks to me. Wondering what hands he could have sort of been betting on the flop, but I don't mind betting for protection here. I think I can get called by a 5. Okay, blind versus blind. I think a 9 is likely to be the best hand at a high frequency here. And I think this, I would consider this a value bet with protection being sort of a key element. Okay, now I pick up the queen high flush draw. I think I'd be polarizing here, and this hand is just this hand has too much showdown value, and it's just not a betting hand in a polarized range. Okay, when he bets half pot when check 2, I need 25% equity. I do have the queen of spades, which maybe almost gives me that amount of equity. And I also have the 9. I might have the best hand now. Okay. This big blind does have a lot of ace highs in his defense range. Maybe that's a mistake to bet the flop. But maybe I just ran into sort of that part of his range. Maybe it's fine to bet the flop. Okay, button versus big blind. I'm betting this hand really favors my range. I'm going to be betting a small size often. He probably has just as many 10s as I do. So I definitely don't have the nut advantage. But okay, I think this is a great flop for him to check raise on. I think he'd be check raising with a ton of combos here, even like 9-10, Jack X. I guess I do block a jack, but I think my hand is just too strong to fold at this point. So I'm going to continue. Especially he does have a lot of draws in his range. Okay, this is obviously a great card for me. Okay, with him betting large, I don't see really any reason to raise here. I think I want to give him a chance. If he is bluffing, I want to give him a chance to bluff on the river. I guess if he has a 10, maybe I still get some money on the river anyway. If he has a 10 and I raise here, I'm not sure. I get paid on 2 streets, so I think just calling's okay. Now we're just going to look to try to get the money in. Hopefully he bets and we can just jam. Okay, when he checks, I think like a lot of his draws, maybe pair to king, or potentially he made a draw or he does have a 10. So I'm going to choose a larger sizing here and just hope he's near the top of his range. Okay, against likely a weaker player out of position. It is a 2-tone flop. I think I should be betting slightly selectively, but still betting a ton on this paired board. I think I'll just be betting a ton with it. You know what, with ace high, that I think actually, I think I don't mind a check and a delayed C bet. Okay, when he bets, I think ace high is just a little too strong to fold. This one is like as close as it gets. Well, that might not be true, but. Okay. Once he checks back the turn so quickly, I think he likely had a lot of air, or likely has a lot of air in his range. I think ace high, there's a possibility ace high is good, but the fourth diamond is unfortunate. Okay, here I think we're getting a great price. Okay, now I'm thinking, how do I get all of the money? I think it's pretty standard for me to check to the pre-flop raiser. This is a pretty low board. I suspect he would be betting a ton of his range on this flop, and he won't. Okay, a $1 bet here from what appears to be a fish. I think we just need to start building a pot. Not really sure we have any other real options here. It's calling. Yeah, I don't think we make much more by calling. Okay, what types of hands? I mean, he probably could have like a 9 here, a 6. I think the ace is a scary card for him, possibly. I think I'm just targeting like a 9 or a 6, and I think they're unlikely to call a jam. Okay, he's checked twice to me at this point. I think I could benefit from some protection. Checking twice, I think he's showing a pretty weak hand. And obviously all of his hands have a decent amount of equity against mine. So I just hate for him to get to see a turn with 2 overs for free and get there. Okay, I think this is a clear defend. Not a great hand, but we're probably losing slightly less by calling. Okay, when he checks behind, I think his range is narrowed a bit. The king is still great for his range, so I'm likely checking my whole range on this card as well. Well, maybe I'm leading an ace. I mean, at this point, unless he checks again, I think I'm done with the hand. And even if he checks again, I'm not sure. It's possible that he just timed out. I should probably just bet 50 cents if he timed out. Be a pretty sick angle. Okay, we're gonna pull the fourth table. It's a huge raise from a small blind. He just 5x'd. Not sure what that means yet, but my first thought is that it means he's probably not that strong of a player, unless he has some sick read on the field, small blind versus big blind, and he can just raise huge with value, and he's like more likely to get played back at or something. You'd have to have so many hands to have that figured out. Okay, and this guy just ripped 30 BBs. But it's also pretty obvious that he wasn't that strong of a player based on his stack size. Kalik has an exercise. I mean, ace high's got to be ahead of his jamming range. But I think it's just a little too light. The reason I said, well, yeah, I guess when you jam twice in a row, you're typically pretty strong the second time because you expect people to think you're full of shit. So that's something to keep in mind. That's how I feel whenever I'm I had a thought there to 3-bet bluff. I think maybe against the buttons, a button steal, maybe it's a better play to 3-bet bluff a hand like that. Okay, this is an under the gun limp. He just insta-checked back. Okay, here I am gonna go for a 3-bet. His stealing range is really wide. And even when called, like, I have some playability here. If I get 4-bet, it's an easy fold. Okay, on this hand, I flop a gut shot and a backdoor hard draw. It's a pretty dry flop. think I'm probably betting my entire range for a small sizing in a 3-bet pot. Okay, I think this is going to be at the bottom of my 3-betting range here. So I'm definitely folding to a 4-bet. Oh, shoot. That's okay. That was a pretty large 3-bet. So the note I have on this guy was that he opened for 5x from the small blind. Again, a flop like this, I'm going to be betting probably my entire range for a small sizing. Go with about a 1/3 size pot. With that sizing, and especially in a 3-bet pot, I feel like players are playing pretty fit or fold. I think it's printing. Okay, so I'm 3-betting jacks here on the button against the hijack open. Just a pretty strong hand. Okay, facing a 4-bet here. I don't think players are 4-bet bluffing very often, especially for these sizings. Like, I'm not sure if that's true, but so I think he's weighted towards queens plus and ace king. I am in position. I think we'll go ahead and take a flop. Okay, here's a dry board. Not the greatest if he was 4-bet bluffing with ace queen. He gets there. Okay, when he checks, he could have his, I mean, he could still have all his strong hands. I think it's a little bit less likely he does. So we are just going to check behind and take the turn. I think like with the stack to pot ratio, he doesn't really need to bet with his aces or kings. Maybe with kings, you know, just so an ace doesn't come. If he checks again, I think he's really weighted towards ace king. which I would benefit a lot from getting ace king to fold. Okay, that's a pretty good card for us. Okay, he checks 3 times. Again, now I think he's like almost exclusively has ace king here. I don't think ace king, does ace king call a bet is really what I'm trying to figure out. I would hate to get jammed on. I don't know. I don't know what to do there. I think he has exactly ace king. I should just bet. Is that true? And just pray for a call? I'm not sure. I need to look at that hand. Okay, this is obviously like the worst, one of the worst hands I'm opening. I would need 33% pot realization, pot entitlement. I might have it. Out of position. Just go ahead and let that one go. Okay, we are going to 3-bet. I think his opening range is pretty wide. And if I do get called, I don't hate my hand. Being out of position sucks, but it's all right. Okay, so I'm going to be betting pretty polarized on this flop. This hand makes the cut. Okay, so small blind opened. Okay, on the spade turn. Small blind check called here. If he bets, it sucks. Have to see what size. Okay, I'm not sure what kinds of hands he just checked. I mean, probably a hard draw, but it's worth. What did he show? Straight? Seven. Oh, 7 of spades, sorry. Yeah, I want to refute that hand as well. To the bottom of these hands. Okay, against this player here, super dry flop. How do I get all the money? I think I just bet small here. That's fine. Queen nine suited. I think it's close. Okay, I'm calling with ace high against a small blind open. Okay, when he checks here, I think ace high. Well, he's probably weighted towards some high cards as well, including ace highs. I mean, I just really don't believe him, but 2 into 7. I guess that's a 2/3 pot size bets. Need like 30% equity. I have a bad ace, maybe with a better one. Okay, so here I raise pre-flop. Get one caller in them. I don't think raising makes sense. I think I isolate myself against really strong hands, but I'm certainly not folding. We'll have to check out the turn sizing and along with the river. Okay, half pot here means I need 25% equity. It's a huge open. Okay, we're not folding. Damn, 3 barrels. If he flopped a flush, would he play it this way? Probably if he flopped a low flush. What other types of hands would play this way? He doesn't have ace X of clubs. He could have, if he had could have like the king of clubs. He wouldn't just jam here. 10 of clubs, probably the same. The fact that he just let out on this flop, I don't know. I think maybe that's a small flush. Maybe he has like 2-4 somehow. God, but my hand is pretty strong. It's a pot size bet. I need 33%. He'd be good 33% of the time. Does he ever have just random bluffs? Does he ever have king X of clubs? Would he turn that into a bluff? Small flush. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. You gotta remember that. I'm reading these hands correctly. Reading these hands correctly. I'm reading these hands correctly. I need to listen to myself. That was a bad call. That's okay. That's okay. I got the hand analysis correct. Okay. I'm not really sure what happened here. Escalated quickly on such a dry board. Oh, thank God I'm not in the hand. Wow. Against the hijack open, I'm 3-betting ace queen here. Out of position, probably should win. That's an okay size. Okay, super dry board. I think it favors my 3-bet range, but his range is pretty strong and weighted towards probably some larger cards. I think I have all the ace kings. No sense in betting large here. Probably just betting my whole range for a small size on this flop. He's probably got a lot of pocket pairs when he just calls the 3-bet behind in position. Which if he's folding for third pot, that's awesome. Not saying he shouldn't be, but that's awesome. Okay. We have an open and a squeeze to 750. I have exactly the hand that I would consider calling with here. I think cold 4-betting might just be over repping. I'm just gonna call here. I don't know. Good, that's good. This guy will probably come along fishy. Okay, so 3-bet range is against an under the gun open. Man, that's really dicey with queens there. His range should be pretty strong. Okay, when he checks his flop, I guess he could be checking with his stronger hands considering the SPR. Do I benefit from protection? Do I get called by worse? I think I like betting. You know what? Yeah, with him behind a shove, I think that puts me in a pretty good spot. Oh, fuck. So he's possibly, I mean, checking his whole range here, his 3-bet range. And then just jamming, checking, hoping he jams. Would he be rejamming like aces here? I mean, he'd probably be rejamming kings. I don't think he'd be rejamming aces here, would he? He could just have a draw, I think. Let's go. I think that one's pretty pretty close. Hey. I need a, my thought process was sort of there. Oof. This is going to be a fun one to review. That's for sure. We are going to go find a full table, even though we're in position deep. Yeah, I just don't have time the way I'm doing my hand analysis. Okay. Oh boy. What in the world is going on here? Okay, I mean, probably defending with some ace high here, but I don't think I'm defending with ace deuce. Okay, how do I maximum? Oh, I mean, how do I win this hand, I suppose, against this weaker player? I kind of like c-betting this. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably c-betting this flop really wide. When he checks behind, I think it's okay to start betting. We have a ton of equity. Ace high could be out of the best hand. We're in a shitty spot here, under the gun open, and then 3-bet from the small blind. Okay, what types of hands will he be calling me with? I guess just maybe some 2-pair hands, 10x, 8x. I think maybe he bets 8x most likely. Maybe he made a straight here. I think I'm going to bet a larger sizing. I think he's probably calling most pairs. Of course, straights. Okay, definitely raising here. Pretty good flop for me. C-betting my whole range in this flop. Cannon flop like this, I'm just going to be betting fairly large size, 2/3 pot size typically, probably with most of my range. Okay, this is the exact, I think the exact same guy in the exact same situation. Okay. Something to keep in mind, like if I get played back at, I think he's likely somewhat, a little bit more likely to do it lighter, since that would be like the second time in a row he limped to small blind and I raised him. Against an under the gun open, flat call. This hand just plays better heads up. I have less fold equity. Maybe it's just the fold. Really strong hand to fold on the button. Feels like at least. May need to recalibrate. Let me write this hand down. Ask. That's a hand where I'm just often just 3-betting without thinking, which might be right. I just don't really know. Oh, oops, I didn't necessarily notice his stack size. God damn it. Well, that's lucky. Okay, sevens here feel like if I just call, I'm likely to get squeezed. So I don't hate a squeeze depending on the size. I can flop a set. If it feels a little too weak to 3-bet, I just hate to get squeezed. I don't know that people are squeezing all that often though. Maybe I can exploitively call behind there. So you're definitely 3-betting this hand against a really wide range. I think it's even doing well against some hands he's continuing with. It's also fine to play this hand as a flat out of the big blind especially. Okay, so I do flop top pair, top kicker. I don't think I can get 3 streets of value on a board like this. So I think if I'm gonna check, might as well get it over with here. Maybe this hand makes a good bet. I mean, it should be really polar. Okay, when he bets small. Quick turn. I almost feel like he's betting small to try to see the river for that cheap. But maybe I just let him. Give him a free shot with like the ace of clubs. I mean, I should just be really polar in this hand. It's not there. He also, I mean, he could have a ton of reason for betting small there on the flop. This is like a median hand for me to have here. Okay, now he's sizing up. So he just called my 3-bet. Okay, when he checks behind, I think it's okay for me to start betting here. Actually, yeah, betting for value, protection. Just be really thrilled if he folds like Queen Jack or something. So I just let him have it. I don't really know. I unblock clubs. He could have ace queen even. I don't think he's doing that with ace queen. Hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, but I would guess he's polar there. He's maybe got flushes, but like, damn, it's hard to have a flush. Not necessarily on that board. There's a ton of flushes available like for hands that call 3-bets. Yeah. So you're talking like 9-10 even. 9-10, you could have ace-x clubs. You could have 8-8, you could have 7-7. He has sets here. I don't know. I think it's probably a fold, especially if he's going to barrel the river. Don't want to be around for that. Out of position. I think that's a fold. I'm happy with that fold. All right, I think I'm gonna, damn, do I want to end the stream? Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream. I'll play this hand first. I opened. This hand's pretty good for my range. Okay, I flop a gutter ball. I'm out of position, 2-tone board.